The Jim and Terry Show with those heavy beats, weighty thoughts. We're slogging through a field of mud and slop, and we just have trouble yanking our boots out of the mud. That's the theme of today's show, the Great Con. How have we been conned in our lives? And let's just start with this one. I'll give it to you, but we can go and visit the things that you and I talk a whole show in between shows.
In between shows, we gab like crazy.
And yeah, well, I'll comment on that later too. But let's talk about this one con, which is, do you remember Bernie Mae, Fannie Mac? Is it that? Did I get the names backwards? Bernie Mae, Fannie Mac? Bernie Mac, Fannie Mae?
I don't know.
The great subprime meltdown of 2008 that almost cost the U.S. their whole economic engine. Things were going so bad. Carney was Bank of Canada and steered Canada through that. Subprime mortgages, where you say that people you can buy this $500,000 house for $10,000 down.
But you couldn't carry it.
You couldn't carry the darn thing.
Yeah.
And if the rates rose even half a percent, you didn't have enough margin in your salary built in. But you were making affordable houses. People could now buy whatever home they want. Isn't that a great thing? No, it's not.
Yeah.
And so here's the latest con. They don't have a minister of housing. Whoever's in charge of housing, and this is related to banking, wants it to be available as part of your application as a homeowner buying your home, that you be allowed to count your cryptocurrency wallet. Whatever you've got in cryptocurrency should be counted as your assets, even though we all know.
That's interesting. What if I can't, how could a con ever happen with that, Terry? I think you should buy Jim Coin.
Or Terry Coins.
Yeah. You buy it now, and I'll up the value of it, and then you've got enough money. So just give me 10 grand, and then, you got $1 million in Jim Coin. I don't see how anything could go wrong.
When you think of how the pyramid schemes and Ponzi schemes work in America, it's like their whole society was designed for this one thing. We can scam you out of your money.
Yeah.
Real money, the physical, tangible dollar, the coin, the things that are real. We will take that from you, take it out of your bank account, and replace it with this imaginary currency that has imaginary value. But we will all say it has value. Now we're going to buy a house with that imaginary value.
Good luck with that. I don't know.
It's happening in the United States. That was on my news feed this morning.
And maybe it's going to work down there somehow, because we know that Trump is in on it and his kids are in on it.
But don't forget,
they're all making millions on billions, actually.
On their own meme coins.
Yeah. So maybe it's some way they're going to weave it all through, but what a wicked something we weave. What
a wicked web we weave.
Yeah, what a wicked web we weave, and that's what I think is happening in the free world.
Okay, so that's the scam going on now, that you have your crypto wallet or whatever they call this way of accounting for imaginary currency, and you can count that towards your assets, towards a down payment on a house. And I'm thinking, woe betide us all. This is not the beginning of a slippery slope. This is down near the bottom of a cliff that is going to bankrupt a lot of people, just like 2008, the subprime mortgage crash. I don't know what a part of this lesson has not been learned, but the scamming and America being primed or subprimed for that crash seems to be happening again.
Well, the earworms too. It could be China. Could be Russia, could be North Korea, could be any adversary of the United States saying that this is a good idea.
Interesting. You use the word earworm. Yeah. Where did you get that?
Well, you hear a song you don't want to hear, and it keeps humming in your mind, right?
Okay.
So you get people talking within the hollowed halls of government, and hearing things and hearing this and hearing that, and of course the main thing is, you, Terry, could get rich. Pass this along, and that evil voice, that earworm.
So the great con that is befalling America, and is it generalized, or are you just more seeing it in America, is that desire to have more than we think we are entitled to. More like, I'm just looking at our own kids and what their aspirations are. The kids' homes are not like my home. We lived in a one-bedroom apartment.
I lived
we
in
had two kids in a
two-bedroom
one-bedroom
bungalow, all of us.
Yeah.
And, my brother and I slept in the same bed till I guess I left the house. I don't know. There was only one bedroom.
So that goes back to another show we did about expectations being out of whack. And the question is, how do you pay for all this stuff? How do you pay for that $500,000, $700,000 home and get that truck that's worth equal value, $70,000, $80,000 for your truck? And how do you send your kids to camp? How do you pay for their clubs, their sports teams, their uniforms, their whatever? How do you keep doing that if the bar keeps on going up?
I don't know. See, back in my day, there was a word.
It gives me a heart attack just thinking about that stuff.
Back in our day, there was a word that our parents used often. No.
Yeah, no.
No. No. And now that's kind of gone. I understand it. I know wonderful, wonderful young parents, but they do give their kids absolutely everything. And they need to have everything. Everything has to be there. Okay. And I understand it, and I don't blame him. And I'll tell you why, especially now. You got the leader of the free world who couldn't be more obviously greedy. He
and corrupt.
Worships gold.
And morally
he worships
bankrupt.
money.
Yeah.
And morally bankrupt. He'll do anything for that money, anything to make money. Take a $400 million gift, which is going to be for him.
The Qatari jet.
Yeah, the Qatari jet. He's already made so far this year, I think, $700 million.
From an office that you're not supposed to make personal profit from.
Yeah. He just blatantly does.
But nobody's holding him accountable, so it doesn't matter.
He's president. He's selling his watches, selling his shoes.
And his Bibles.
Yeah, and his Bibles. He's selling all of this stuff right in front of everybody.
Question, where is his new Trump phone being manufactured?
That's made in America. That's a lie. But the people that buy it, Terry, know they're being lied to, and they're going, yeah, but it's gold. It's colored gold, and it's got Trump's T on it.
Remember how many people voted for Trump? That's how many people are liable to be vulnerable to these things. We had a song cover that you saw there called Fragile, Becoming Fragile.
Yeah.
I think becoming vulnerable. Are we just becoming not that intelligent? Or are we following your dad's theory of stupid gas from the chemtrails? What is happening where people cannot think rationally, cannot determine logically, cannot figure things out, but seem to be vulnerable to the earworms of China, Russia, whatever, North Korea, whoever's hacking, spreading messages? The 2016 election was largely thrown because Russia was listening, was telling people what to believe about who's going to win that 2016 election.
And I think Trump probably owes them to this day.
Still he does.
Yeah,
yep.
I think
they
that's
were
part
listening
of
when he asked.
Yeah. And I think that's part of the problem, that Trump is indebted somehow to Putin in some way. I may be wrong on
But then how do you explain all the other Republican senators and congresspeople?
Oh, pure fear. I mean, Trump is the ultimate mob boss. You can see that. He talk about a man of fierce countenance. The guy stands in front of media and immediately starts bad-mouthing the media and calling them scum. You're scum. All of you are scum. And then his commander-in-chief guy stands up there and calls you scum. You're all scum. The guy has no morals, calling them for just broadcasting what they got from the Pentagon. You understand? They weren't lying about anything, but it wasn't the words that Trump wanted to hear, so they're scum.
And let me get this straight. CNN, MSNBC, whoever he was calling in that NATO scrum as fake news, remember this is being covered by Fox, who is the only news agency to pay nearly $1 billion for propaganda. Convicted, paid. They had a second trial, and I've never heard whatever happened to the other voting machines, Smartmatic and whatever the other one was.
They're the state. United States, you have a state broadcasting system, a propaganda station.
Yeah.
And for us who aren't buying into that, all of the hosts look ugly. Not pretty outside, yes, inside ugly.
Yeah.
Because they know they're sucking up to the king. You
think-
made a king.
I think it
that's
was-
what you've done.
Jon Stewart, who on a night show, it could have been Jimmy Kimmel, so don't quote me on this, made fun of the cross that Caroline Levitt wears. I don't think she wears her cross anymore. She used to wear it like Kayleigh McEnany.
Sometimes it's there, sometimes
the
it's
bigger
not,
the
yeah.
cross seems to be, the bigger the lies. And I don't know what that is all about. Misrepresenting. The Great Khan comes in many sizes. Some of it is a religious size. The
Yeah,
cross.
I don't even know how to. It doesn't do the faith any good.
No.
None.
The Cross of the Khan. Maybe another
Ooh,
podcast.
another song.
All right. Bye-bye for now.
I don't wanna carry this load.
Though the sweat of my brow and the toil of my hands has got me so far into this promised land.